All right, all right.
You're going to be put into John Oliver's
All right, all right.
when they had all the newscasters quoting lines.
Yeah, I'm actually going to try and listen to this real quick. All right. It's not bad. All right, so hey everybody, it's Friday. We're trying something a little bit different today with the microphones, just because I know the echo. It's actually, to be exact, it's reverb. But we're getting a little bit of a problem where you hear my voice in two different microphones and Nicole's voice, and that's actually causing a little bit of distraction. So, hey, if you never heard it, that's good. But it's something that was happening, and we wanted to solve it. So hopefully the audio sounds better today.
I'll be monitoring the YouTube chat today.
Yeah, Nicole will be looking at the YouTube chat today. Someone also had a great suggestion. They said, when I talk to Nicole sometimes, because her back is to me, there's nothing I can do about it, she's actually over here, and I turn to talk to her, but in the picture, she's on this side, and it looks weird. So they said, put her on the other side, and it might look a little bit better. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm still going to be talking to your back, though. Is that okay?
What the hell, William?
What? Somebody being bad?
Yes.
William S., you suck. I don't know what he said, but apparently if Nicole's upset, you suck.
Just randomly go in there. What? That's not what we're here for.
All right, so of course, any questions are welcome. Nicole will try to forward those questions to me while I chat with you. If you don't know what's going on with us domestically these days in our lives, we are moving. So the last 2 days has just been nonstop packing, putting stuff into pods, and we've got another couple of days of that. So as soon as we're done here, that's what I'm going to do. So forgive me if I don't get the live video, sort of, you know how I like to put the time codes in for all the different parts and questions. You'll have to forgive me if I don't get to that for a little bit.
Hey, that's a cool shirt you're wearing.
Oh, thank you, Nicole. You see my shirt? This is one of our Woodworkers. Where's the... There it is. Woodworkers Fighting Cancer t-shirts, which you can buy at twwstore.com to help support the cause. Proceeds go directly to the charity.
100% of the proceeds go to the charity.
100%. And that's for the Jesse Reese Foundation this year for our Woodworkers Fighting Cancer drive. Lots of other things going on. If you haven't seen it, go to woodworkersfightingcancer.com. You can find out everything there. You could build along to help out. You could donate directly. You could participate in the auctions. And we even have a very special auction of my table saw, if you haven't seen that. So you guys know my flaming table saw. That's up for grabs. And our buddy Joseph Mensch actually purchased the saw from me because I was selling it because I kind of need money to help out with the move. So Joe purchased the saw from us and then put it up as an auction for the charity, which is just amazing. So thank you very much for that, Joseph. You are a good dude. Appreciate it.
And his friend is holding the saw for us. So if you want it shipped, of course, ideally you come pick it up in Phoenix. But there is a company called U-Ship, and they specialize in shipping. So you can actually have it shipped to you. You pay for the shipping, but it's a good program that you can have shipping done.
Yeah.
So.
Anything else related to that?
No, sorry.
Okay. Thanks, hon. So yeah, we're going to be a little scatterbrained today. So I do have a few things to show you. First of all, Morris Chair is this week's inventory reduction sale project in the Guild. If you want to see it, I have it right here. This has been living in my bedroom for a long time. There it is. It's the Morris Chair. I'm going to go sit in it because I'm lazy. What do you think? Should I do the whole show from here? I would not mind that one bit. It's got, it's a bow arm design is what they refer to it as. Don't you hate this, guys? When you sit down and it looks like you're a little bit too happy to be in the chair? What's with that? There was a whole Curb Your Enthusiasm episode dedicated to him and his scrunched up pants and a sort of miscommunication with one of his friends. It's great. Anyway, bow arm Morris chair, bent laminations for the arms, bent laminations for the back. It's actually got curved slats here and a contoured rail for the back. So this is exceptionally comfortable. We even go into the upholstering aspects of it, though you certainly could have a professional put some nice leather pads on this thing and it would be a beaut. It's actually got multiple positions. You could move the backrest into 3, 4 different positions if you want to recline. a little bit more. So fantastic project, a lot of fun if you're interested. It's 40% off. I don't think it's ever been that cheap,
Nope.
except for the people who bought it ahead of time
Years and years.
in the bundles, right?
How many years ago did you build that?
So many years, Nicole.
Like 2?
So many years. I have no idea.
Oh.
So
I
that's
can't
the
remember
Morris
either.
chair. TheWoodWhispererGuild.com if you want to take advantage of that sale price.
Until Sunday.
Help us reduce our inventory, our digital inventory. I know what I'm going to do now. I'm going to show you, because I had put some videos out this past week expressing my frustration for the setup that I've been using. Now, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, I did a little update on my hearing safety and how I like to incorporate Bluetooth. And this is the system I showed there. These are Howard Light headphones. Okay, these actually are passive speakers. There are speakers built in, and there's a little auxiliary input. So I figured, hey, this is great. It gives me the sound protection, ear protection I need, but also I could pump in some music. And if I use a little Bluetooth receiver like this, a little adapter, and a male-to-male connector, I can get Bluetooth straight from my phone into my ear holes. And that worked. It worked out really well. But what happens over time is if you wear these, especially in conjunction with a respirator, just that little respirator band on the side, if you're wearing this thing for like 45 minutes to an hour, that can really start to dig into your head and dig into your temples. So that gets very uncomfortable. And part of the problem is, hear that? Now, I don't know if it's the Arizona heat or something that has made this plastic material even more stiff than it was when I first got it. Or maybe it was always this stiff and I just didn't realize it. But either way, this is uncomfortable, right? So I've done a couple different things. Number one, they have a replacement kit that they call like a hygiene kit or something, where you can get these pads and they're easy to pop out and replace, and you could also replace this inner pad. So I'm going to try those, and I'm hoping that that's a little bit softer because that would solve my problem quite quickly. I also have these old WorkTunes style headphones, and they've got all kinds of new versions of these. These have the built-in radio and also the input jack. You do have to have this turned on and batteries installed in order to hear the speaker. So that's one additional set of batteries, which is why I really preferred this setup, which takes no batteries other than the Bluetooth adapter that needs to be charged. So in my quest, and I asked for some advice, a lot of people recommended the WorkTunes wireless. This has Bluetooth built in. So these are new in the box. I haven't even taken them out yet. Maybe I shouldn't bother doing it now because it's going to be noisy.
Chris wants to know, do you have any problems with that thing sticking down?
With the little this doojobby sticking down? Not really. It doesn't do anything. I mean, it's not. Here, look at me. Hi, I'm Mark. I have a little thing hanging from my ear. It doesn't get in the way at all. I've never had a problem. So yeah, these, you know, use your imagination. I'm not going to unbox this thing right now. Or maybe I am. I lied. Okay, so nice and comfortable. You can see how soft those are. And I guess, you know, as long as you don't bump these buttons, you'll probably be okay. So we'll see how these goes. See how these goes. That's good English. I'll let you know how it works out. The other thing I got that I wanted to experiment with are plug phones. Now, I did not get in on the Kickstarter for these. They have Bluetooth versions of these, but what I wanted to find out was, you know, buying the cheaper version with the cord. I wanted to find out if this works. Does this even sound good with this type of earplugs and such a small speaker element? Wanted to see if it sounds any good, because if this doesn't sound good, then the Bluetooth sure as heck isn't going to sound good, so why spend the extra money on it? With something like this, I could actually just take these, plug it in, run the wire under my shirt, pardon me giving you the middle finger there, and then I use my Bluetooth adapter directly onto this, maybe pop this into my pocket or hook it onto my shirt or something. So that's a combination I think that might be pretty good. And again, what's nice about this is it doesn't put any pressure on the side of my head like headphones do, so it won't interfere with anything. But it would require, you know, regular ear protection. Now I use these Velcro things, and that's why I like the over-the-ear things, because I have a Velcro set of, do you see them around there? Arlie always cleans up and puts them away. My eye protection, never mind.
It's
around somewhere, but it's a Velcro strap.
Use your hands.
With eye protection, and it works really well. Oh, here it is. I found it. And what this does, like this, that prevents the band or the arm of your regular glasses from going in this area, which again, another thing that digs into your temples. So I absolutely love this invention. This is fantastic.
Somebody said, what's the headphone? Did you get them on Amazon?
Yeah, both of these products are on Amazon. We could link up to them if you're
Okay,
interested.
yeah, we'll put them in the show notes.
We put the link in
if
there.
I find them, I'll put it in
But
the
I,
YouTube
honestly, I wouldn't
comments.
recommend buying anything yet. If you want to hear my thoughts on it, I
wait.
can report back next week. But hey, if you want to spend money, go ahead.
Who made your Bluetooth
Far
adapter?
be it for me to stop you. Shoot. Again, that's on Amazon. If you look for Bluetooth adapter on Amazon, you will see this. It's unmistakable. That teardrop shape, pear
I'll just
shape
go
like that.
into your past orders and see if I can find it.
Just Google or you'll find it. Just search for Bluetooth adapter. MARC's Bluetooth adapter. That'll do it. I do well, and also the video. Something safety hearing upgrades or something like that I did on our website.
So these WorkTunes wireless,
That's the one.
Those are the ones?
Yep, 3M WorkTunes wireless. So, and the thing is, I spend so much time in the shop, the machines are loud. I just like to protect my hearing at the same time as I have, good content coming in, either podcasts, music that I'm listening to. And the problem is a lot of solutions out there, like noise canceling earbuds and stuff, they don't block out enough of the bad stuff. So I have to turn the volume up a little bit higher, and then that's, just a recipe for tinnitus, and I don't really want to deal with that stuff. So that's it for the hearing protection. Let's take a look at some of the progress I've made on the grandfather clock. I want to show you some hinges, y'all. So right over here is one of the legs of my grandfather clock. Yeah, let's look at one of the hinge installations here.
Are you happy with your earbuds too?
What earbuds?
The ones you just bought.
How could I know? They're in the package.
Oh.
They haven't been in my ear holes. So what I have here is a nice little mortise. When I cut a mortise, generally speaking, I'm going to use my router because it's going to give me a nice consistent depth mortise for the hinge, which is a good idea. And I like to use this little trim router here. It's the DeWalt version. Any trim router will do. And it's got a little 1/4-inch straight bit. As I'm laying everything out, and I do lay it out by hand because there's no better way to get the dimensions of this thing locked in than to use a marking knife. Okay, so I use the marking knife, have my layout lines, get pretty close with the router, and then I use a chisel to fine-tune the fit. One interesting note here is obviously this is a little precarious, so I always have extra pieces of scrap. And the scrap gets clamped on both sides before I do my routing. And I like long pieces like this because I can clamp them all the way out to the ends, and it keeps the router, gives me a full range of motion here. And from that point, I could just route away and get the bulk. And you do have to, it's kind of like doing an inlay. You want to sneak up on that line, but leave enough so you don't go too far. And then use the chisel to knock out the rest. And once that's done, you should hopefully end up with a nice fit, just like this. Boom shakalaka, y'all. And these are, by the way, fantastic hinges from our friends over at Brusso Hardware. Oh, look at this. I didn't know these things were removable. Someone asked me if you could remove them, and look at that. Maybe I shouldn't screw with that. No pun intended. But Brusso Hardware has just incredible, top-notch hardware. And hey, the way I look at it, you're going to spend this much time building something that's going to be like a family heirloom. You may as well put a few bucks into the hardware and not buy, cheap stuff from... Shoot. Can I start cursing?
No.
Come on. This would be a lot more fun if I could curse. So that's that. That's the clock. And I've got a lot of progress. I'm moving very quickly on this project because I just do not have the time to mess around on this one because we got to move, yo.
We got to move.
We're moving it. And I think that's about all I had in terms of things to cover. Is there anything I'm forgetting before we just...
Someone wanted to know if you did those, cut the hinges out by hand, Kurt.
Well, I did explain that. So it's,
okay,
it's partially by hand.
See, I focus on the chat, and I don't actually listen to you.
This is what I have to deal with, guys. Can you believe this?
Sorry.
This is how she treats me all day long. I don't know how I deal with it, frankly.
You're just gonna have to deal with it.
How's the sound? Is it any better?
I'm getting good reports. There was a little bit of echo, I guess, at the feedback at the top, but everyone seems to be fine with it now.
Okay. Well, I'll listen to it later. Usually if I listen with headphones, I could hear the problem.
Joe wants to know any reference of where to shop for quality hinges and other hardware.
Well, Brousseau Hardware, as I mentioned, if Nicole was listening, she would have heard that. Brousseau Hardware is fantastic. They're one of the best. But there are other great manufacturers of hardware. Horton Brass, I think, is another one that's really good. And honestly, I don't buy that much hardware, so most of the time I find what I'm looking for from there. I also like to buy certain pieces of hardware from Rockler and Lee Valley. They both carry decent hardware. It's not necessarily like this, the stuff you get from Brousseau. I mean, this is heavy, guys. One of those little dogs that we have running around this house, I could probably knock one of them out. Like that one over there.
She's snoring.
These little min pins, when they snore, they sound like they're frothing a cappuccino. But this is some serious weight on these things, so it's a big difference between the thin leaves that you find on a lot of other hardware. So just dig around, ask on forums, you'll probably find some good hardware solutions, and especially if you're looking for reproduction and period accurate hardware and things, you might have to do a little more digging.
Preston said that he hears a little popping in my mic. It's just me going.
Yeah, that's Nicole. She has a very bad habit. She just stands around going. In fact, I've noticed in all of the live sessions, there's a little very slight popping every single time. At this point, there ain't nothing I can do about it, so we'll endure.
Someone's asking if you're getting a new table saw since the flaming table saw is going up for auction.
Yes, I am going to get a new table saw, and it will not have flames.
I'm
probably
curious.
going to make mostly a lateral move to a PM2000. Going from a PM2000 to a PM2000.
Let's see. What's the auction? Woodworkers Fighting Cancer.
Where are you looking at? Where we're at?
I wanted to see where the auction
I checked
was.
this morning. It's still at 1,500.
1,500? That should go for more than that. Come on.
Everybody's waiting.
I know. I think everybody's just kind of hovering, wanting to see where it goes.
Okay, we got some questions coming in here.
Questions. Are you looking at questions too?
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked if you were building a new shop, and the answer is no, we're not.
No, we are doing a garage conversion for the shop.
Yep. Let's see. Name a few things. I don't know how to pronounce your name, sorry. Z, I'll call you Z. You're going to do differently in regards to the shop layout and stuff after the move.
I don't know. I mean, I have to be in that space to know what I'm going to do.
Yeah, that's hard. It's really hard.
I think when you get into a space, even once you think you know what you're going to do, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to do that. You wind up moving things around. I think the only thing I'm going to do is try to be as flexible as possible in the new shop, just to make sure that I have the option to move things around when I decide something is better off in a new location. So because it is a smaller space, I'll be doing a lot of things differently. I don't have the luxury of like extra space around things. I'm going to have to be much more strategic. In this space, I just, I didn't really have to think about it that much, just because I had extra room, which actually I find that to be even more challenging. And I don't mean this to be like, everyone playing the smallest violin in the world. But when you actually have an excess of space, you tend to just kind of like, bleh, everything just gets thrown in.
Walls are good, is what you're saying.
Walls, partitions, natural restrictions, because then you could build things and build creative solutions around those things. But just a giant open space, you have to sort of create clusters of tools, which can actually be a little bit challenging to wrap your head around. So that's what I mean by that.
Lance would like to know, in order of importance for a new shop, table saw, bandsaw, 12-inch planer, joiner, etc. Didn't you do a video on this?
All of the above.
Haven't we done videos on this?
You know what? It's so hard with questions like that we've probably addressed them, many times in the past, and it's hard to say in terms of order of importance. Keep in mind that you can buy lumber pre-milled. Buying pre-milled lumber means you don't necessarily need your planer and your jointer right away. If you have a jigsaw, you don't necessarily need your bandsaw right away, because you can cut curves with the jigsaw. Now, you can't resaw with the jigsaw, but why are you resawing if you don't have a planer and a joiner? because after you resaw, you usually need to do extra work to those pieces to get them processed to be useful again. So, I think the table saw is definitely one that you want to get early if you do want to be a power tool woodworker. Bandsaw, I think, is a good thing to add, but again, you have to decide. I think a big decision point is when you want to start milling your own stock. And at that point, then you have to start thinking about planer and jointer, and I would go planer first, jointer second.
You know what? I just remembered. If you are an Amazon Prime member and you have not had a chance to check out Hybrid Woodworking, the book, you can download it for free right now.
Yeah.
So Amazon just released a new, because they used to have like the lending library, but they just announced, I think it's called Amazon Reading. And I guess the publisher for Hybrid Woodworking worked out a deal with them, and you can just go download it if you have Amazon Prime. So check it out.
Yep. And I have Joey CH Go, whatever your name is asking about the radial arm saw. You asked that on the question or on the video about the saws, and I answered your question there. So go check that out. He's double dipping.
He is double dipping.
We don't allow double dipping, Joey.
Let's see.
And who knows about the book being free? I don't know. I got to call Pop Woodworking and say, show me the money, man. You're giving this book away for free. How does that pan out, as far as royalties go?
Yeah, I don't know, because I don't remember. I mean, it's the kind of Spotify thing,
Yeah, but that doesn't negate the rules of copyright. They can't simply give something away without a prearranged, sort of agreement with the publisher.
There's probably an arrangement with the publisher, just not you.
Yeah, they just cut me out of it.
That's not in your contract.
Isn't that fantastic?
Who knows? We'll find out. But still.
Hey, thank you, Bruno. I appreciate that. Bruno said that we're awesome.
Aw.
Actually, he said, I'm awesome. I just wanted to include you in it so you don't feel bad.
Bruno, you hurt me.
Maybe he was talking to you, actually. I really should not assume that. You're probably talking about Nicole. I'd agree with you.
Let's see. Somebody just asked, Kevin, I'm thinking of attempting to build the Rubo without a jointer. How stupid am I on a scale of 1 to 10?
I am not one to comment on someone else's stupidity. I have plenty of my own.
He does. I can vouch for that.
It's going to be tough because the one thing a workbench requires is milling up a whole lot of stock, and you don't really want to make someone else do that for you. So it can be done. Workbenches were made before power jointers existed. It's a lot of work. Talk to some people who've done it before. There are folks who have done it who were just determined to make it happen, and they got the job done. But I would just, warn you that it's an uphill battle, and it's going to be a lot of labor, a lot of labor.
Yeah. Haven't people made benches just with the hand tools alone?
Of course they have.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I'm just saying that he shouldn't feel like.
I know. Yes.
Okay.
They have.
All right. Let's see here. Thomas, my router bits burn my wood.
Whoa, baby.
Cheap bits or something else?
Well, if router bits are burning, there's a couple things that could be happening. It could be a dull or cheap bit, right? That's always the case.
Isn't the speed also another?
Speed is definitely a factor. Sometimes if you're going, let's say, too slow, or you're staying, because it's not just the speed of the bit itself, it's the speed of the motion, right? Not the RPMs, it's how fast are you moving the router. So if you're spinning a little bit really, really quickly, but you're going and you're not moving fast, you're getting a lot of revolutions in one spot, and that causes extra friction and heat buildup. So you have to usually pace your motion in such a way that you're not overwhelming the bit, but you're allowing it to clear the chips and move, and you're keeping a nice, steady pace. If you ever notice when you're doing a long run, sometimes you have to kind of run along and then reposition your feet and step, and you might slow down. Watch what happens when you slow down. You'll get a little brown mark, or if you leave it there too long, a black mark. But you just got to keep going, and that will affect it. So that tends to happen more with cheaper or dull bits, depending on the situation. A good bit that's gone dull can also be a problem. So your bits could be an issue, but feed rate could be an issue, and checking the RPMs and making sure you're using an optimal, if it's a variable speed motor, that you're using an optimal setting for the bit. Also, the wood species. Not all wood species are created equal. Some of them tend to burn more than others. Cherry is a good example. It tends to burn quite easily.
Let's see here. I'm looking for something we can go back to the bits. Hey, Shut up, dogs. Let's see.
Okay, Accurate
You go.
Ways says if you say hi to me, I will become a member of the guild in the
Ooh.
next week.
Hey, you should do it
Should I
right
say
now
hi?
with
Should
the
I-
40% off on the Morris chair.
Should I say hi to Accurate Ways with a Z? Hi, Accurate Ways with a Z. You should go buy the Morris chair and
And
save
then
some
you're-
money
Yeah.
if you're going to do it.
Heck, you could even just buy the simple varnish finish and get into
Someone
the
asked about my mat on my workbench, which is not on the bench right now. This bad boy. That is from Benchmat. Benchmat.com. Those guys are great. I saw them at Woodworking in America, and he gave me that small one, which I think is still in the office, hon. Another version of it, but like a smaller placemat size that could be used for, you could use it at the computer, you could use it for like little tasks at the workbench, but really
Yeah.
good stuff. Check them out.
Buy Me wants to know, speaking of burning, I picked up a 40-year-old bandsaw, burning my work with test cuts. Same issue? Should I change the blade or increase the feed rate?
Exact same issue on the bandsaw. Obviously a different tool, but the concept is the same. With a bandsaw, you might be using a blade that has too many teeth. So if you think of a fine-tooth blade, lots of teeth per inch, it's a lot of friction, depending on the operation you're doing or the directionality of the cut, if you're going a cross cut versus, rip cut. So depending on the operation, depending on the wood, depending on the blade you're using, that sort of burning can happen. So similar thing, feed rate is also an issue, but it just depends. There's too many variables to say for sure. But keep in mind, the bandsaw, I like to have, I guess maybe on the small one, if I'm doing a lot of curved work, I like a high tooth count on that kind of blade. But anything beyond that, if I'm doing, resawing or any kind of longer curve cuts, I like to have a blade that clears all of those chips. It's less friction, less burning, and you can move faster. So again, could be a combination of things.
Steven wants to know, quick question. I am finally about to pull the trigger on a detached garage workshop for a basic wood shop. What size electrical panel should I install?
Oh boy.
You should talk to an electrician, maybe.
Yeah, well, yes. And we're doing this as well, not a separate shop, but we are looking to get a sub panel in the garage, and the same conversation has to happen. What size panel? Just in talking with friends of mine, I posted some questions because the inspector we had look at the new house came back and said the most he'd be able to install, it was the electrician.
Yeah.
The first electrician
Yeah.
said the most he'd be comfortable installing was a 60 amp panel. So the question was, is that enough? A lot of people, most people said it's enough, but it's borderline, right? If
Yeah.
you're running a heater or an air conditioner and a power tool and a dust collector, and someone's inside watching TV, running a dry, depending on the load on the entire service, that could be an issue. But for the shop alone, 60 is kind of like the minimum is what it seemed most people agreed upon. Mm-hmm. And then some people said that wouldn't even be enough. So I guess it depends on, again, your tools. Like if you've got 5 horsepower tools, like a 5 horsepower Cyclone and a 5 horsepower table saw, you're really starting to push the limits. So depends on your tool setup, but 60 would be, from the information I got from people who know more than I do on this, that 60 would be your minimum. I think if you're going to make sure you have enough, room to expand and do everything you need to do, what we just found out from the second electrician, who seemed to be more knowledgeable about the entire scope of the project, said that he can get a 125 amp panel in there. That would be a more ideal situation, is 125. I'm trying to think, what do I have in here? I think I have a 200.
The 200?
I don't
How
know.
can you tell?
Usually I can go check at the main breaker. I don't remember. I think it's a 200. It might even be just the 125.
Mr. K King 33 wants to know, how big or small is your next shop compared to this one?
Well, the next shop,
You're
assuming
losing-
everything goes through, is at least the way it was measured, what we're being told is
Yeah.
1,040?
Yeah, 1,050, I
10
think.
1040,
so you're
1050?
roughly losing 800.
Yeah, losing about 800 square feet. Which means no more gymnastics, no more ballet.
No more drums
No
in
more,
the shop.
no more drums, no more calisthenics. And a lot of times, let's be honest, a lot of times when I need to go from tool to tool, I like to twirl as I go, and I need a little bit of extra space to do that. I won't be able to twirl.
Chris wants to know, do you have any Forstner bit manufacturer recommendations?
Yeah, you know, for Forstner bits, I've got a Freud set, just a little, like 5 or 6 piece set, the red ones, and I find those to be serviceable, just covering all the range of things that I need for basic stuff. When you go to something where you're going to put a lot of use into the bit, look into Bormax. I found Bormax to be absolutely incredible bits. When I did the poker chip trays, that's drilling through hardwoods that are about this thick to make that channel all the way through. Each one of them, I think, had 5 holes. So you're going through, 5 times for each set. And then you make multiples of it. So the Bormax bits were the only ones I could find that actually stood up to that abuse. So what I would do is, get yourself a multi-purpose set, spend a decent amount of money, don't get the most expensive stuff. Air Force!
Yeah.
So get something that's, middle of the road price-wise, and then go back and get the Bormax in the bit sizes you're probably going to use more often.
So I have a question from Boet Elferine. I believe he's from the Netherlands.
Okay.
I was drilling.
No, it's not near an Air Force base, our new house.
No.
Go ahead.
I was drilling, and it was using a brand new spade bit, and the bit keeps getting stuck.
Uh-huh.
The bit still gets lost. He's not sure what he's doing wrong.
You're using a spade bit. That's the problem.
Yeah, I don't know a spade.
Spade bits suck. So, when a lot of times when you're coming from more of a
It's a
construction,
very definitive kind of answer there.
that's how it is, Nicole. Okay. When you know your stuff,
Hey.
you got to say it like that. That's what I learned
Then why
from
do
Shannon.
they make him? Why do they make
Shannon
him?
taught me you have to always sound like you know what you're talking about, whether you do or not.
No, what I want to know is if they're that bad, what are they used for then? Because they're obviously
Spade bits
being
are
used
great
for-
rough tools.
There we go.
So you find them you see them being used a lot in construction because you need to just go through 2x4s to make a channel for, some wire or conduit or whatever. But because you're looking, a spade bit, based on its shape, has those 2 cutter heads and it's this flat design. I find them very scary because when they catch, holy crap, do they catch? And if you got your finger on the trigger still when that thing catches, and it's like, like an old school drill, it'll practically break your wrist in the process. So for the type of woodworking most of us do, there are better solutions than spade bits to create these larger holes, like boring bits and things that are just better suited for the task. So I don't even own any spade bits anymore. And whether I'm making, 3/4 inch dog holes in a workbench, I guess the only time I would get a spade bit is if I was doing some construction work and I needed to plow through a 2x4 to run some lines through it or something. So there may be other people know a lot more about spade bits than I do, I'm sure, but it's not even in my collection of tools and bits. I don't see a need for spade bits for the type of work that fine woodworkers are doing.
Right.
And someone brought up a good point. Spade bits are cheap. Right? If you do need to plow through and make some holes, that's a good way to do it. A boring bit is going to be significantly more money because there's a lot more technology going on in the bit itself. There's a lot more material in the bit, and it's costs more to make it.
Matt says all this bit talk sure is boring.
Classic Matt. Which Matt is that?
Matt Scranton.
Oh yeah, he's a funny guy.
Loki Kermama, whatever. What's your recommendation for a general purpose wood screw to keep around the shop? There are so many different varieties and materials.
Yeah, go to McFeely's. I really like McFeely's website for screws. I've been ordering from them forever, and they have some square drive or Robertson, depending on whether you're Canadian. You see, and I keep them all in this nice little briefcase. You stupid thing.
We're
See?
going to be going until the baby wakes up, by the way.
Oh, we are?
Yeah, why not? She should be waking up soon.
She's going to be whacking up soon. What you almost said.
Waking.
So these are, and sometimes I get them coated. Sometimes they're just, the simplest, cheapest ones possible. But these are labeled number 2 square drive lube finish. So that's usually what I wind up getting, but nothing really special. And McFeely's, I believe, has they call it like a screw finder, and you could use the website. I'm gonna need some water though.
I need air conditioning.
Okay, I'll turn on the air.
I can't believe it's October and I'm sweating.
Why not? We live in Arizona. I'll turn on the air if you go get me a water.
Okay. I'm gonna turn my camera off.
So yeah, McFeely's will have a screw finder that should be able to guide you through the process of finding the most appropriate screw. But for general purpose, stuff that's not going outdoors, stuff that's not going into a potentially corrosive wood material, you can just get away with very simple screws. And I think McFeely's, they have good stuff. Adam wants to know if I will have plans to do the apprenticeship for the guild projects in the new shop. I think so. We really, really, really like that. And unfortunately, we were not able to do the apprenticeship. We had selected the person. We had a great candidate who was going to come out. And just because of the move and the way I was going to need to build this thing in a compressed time frame, but later than I wanted to, it just wasn't happening. Because, you know, when you have an apprentice in the shop, usually by like week 3, you actually start to work faster than you would have worked alone. But in those first 2 weeks, you're going like at half pace because you're explaining things and teaching and getting the person comfortable in the shop. So while we love doing it, it does take more time to do it. So someone asked if we're going to do the apprenticeship in the new shop. So I said probably I would like to. But even more so than what we have here in the new place, it's just going to be my garage, you know, attached to my house.
Yes.
So, you know, let's just say it depends. Because we also have security and privacy concerns.
Well, of course.
Not even so much for that individual. We kind of vet the person. We don't let someone come in that even remotely gives us an inkling of this person could be a problem, you know.
Well,
although that David Nichols, you got to watch out for that guy. He's
David.
something else.
He's great.
He's dangerous. No, David's awesome.
Oh, yeah. Well, we had picked Matt for
Yep.
Matthew.
That's what I just talked about.
Yeah, okay.
And
Never mind.
unfortunately,
I
we
was
had,
getting water, so.
Yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't go through with it.
Yeah. So he has an option to come out.
Yeah, he'll have the first opportunity.
Let's see. Questions.
Dirt Fighter said, did you just say lube and screw in the same sentence? I did.
Donnie wants to know, what wireless mic are you using?
Sony. I have Sony wireless lavalier mic. It's one of the newer versions that actually works with my camera in the hot shoe. So it communicates directly with the camera through the multi-interface shoe and doesn't need power and doesn't have a cord. It just goes right into the camera. So the body pack is the only thing that takes batteries, which is pretty sweet. And it's the one with the yellow band around it, the newer version.
I will put a link in the chat.
David said, guilty as charged.
All right.
Okay.
Anything from here?
Can you explain, this is Tom wants to know, can you explain the guild membership? Just buy one thing and you're in? It would be great if it was that simple, wouldn't it? Because it is. So basically, over the years, we've pulled away from the sort of constant like expense sort of thing where you have to pay a yearly membership to be considered a member. Never really liked that kind of a setup. I mean, I imagine it's profitable to make people feel like they're losing something if they're not paying constantly, and that's not how we do things. So if you buy one project in the guild, you are a guild member for life, basically, for the life of, you know, the website. So you have access to the project you bought indefinitely. You could always log in and look at it. You don't have to buy anything else beyond that to get that. You get access to the Facebook group, which is proving to be an incredible resource if you're a Facebook user, and none of the BS that's usually on Facebook, which is great. And any of the other privileges like the discounts that we get, and you sort of get, you know, sometimes you'll get early access to Wood Whisperer stuff like the Bosch Glide Festal Capex video. I actually wasn't ready to release that on the free site, but I had the video done. Guild members saw that like 3 weeks ago. Like it's been sitting there. So you get early access to things as well. And just buying one project, doesn't matter which one it is, any one of those projects will get you that sort of access. But we do recommend you look at the bundles. The bundles are where you're going to save a ton of money because you're buying this stuff before the content has been released. So you get it at a huge discount, right? And you could build your own bundle, and the more you add, up to 4, the more you add, the more you're going to save. So that's the guild. And also look at the homepage on the guild. Everything I just said is kind of there.
And there's even an FAQ on the guild too, because most people...
This is an interesting question. Wood by Wright says, what would you suggest for a first power tool coming from an all-hand tool wood shop? This is almost like the exact polar opposite of how I came at the hybrid woodworking book.
Right.
Because one of the first things I explain in the hybrid woodworking book is that we're not starting from a world where you could pick and choose each one and what do you want to bring together to make your hybrid shop. I was coming at it from the only perspective that I know, which is I've got a power tool shop, but I want to incorporate hand tools. Here's how I do it. And it's a very different thing. It's exactly the opposite than what he's asking, which is I've got all hand tools. What do I do in terms of bringing in power tools? And I'm not exactly qualified to answer that because that's not the perspective that I came from. But I know that if I were doing a lot of hand tool woodworking, the first things I want to do moving into power tools is save myself labor. And where do you spend most of your time, or I guess manual labor, I guess we should say, is in the milling of stock and the preparation of stock. So things like the jointer and the planer would be huge. I know hand tool users, specifically, I'll bring up Shannon again. That'll cost you $5, Shannon. Over at the hand tool school, Shannon has a power planer. Because even a guy who loves using his hand tools and he's geeks out on this stuff still wants to send boards through a planer because it's faster, and easier and simpler, and it just makes his life easy. You have to admit that that's a great way to go if you can muster the tool being in the shop. So I would say the planer, the jointer would be good because those are tasks that I would rather not do by hand if possible. And then if you still have that love for hand tools, let the hand tools focus on the preparation of your joinery and all the fine specifics, but leave the grunt work to power tools.
Gert Jan wants to know about the plans in the guild, if they are imperial and metric.
Yes, guild plans, and there might be an exception in the first couple, like the earliest ones.
We need to get those.
Yeah, I'll have to take a look at those, but any of the more recent ones in the last 3 or 4 years, 5 years maybe, we have both imperial and metric. Someone's asking technical questions. What am I using to donate? I see the answers to, no, not donate, edit.
Edit, Final Cut.
Oh yeah, it's Mr. K King 33. Yes, I use Final Cut.
And then Josh in the Facebook chat wants to know how much is the guild membership. Well,
I don't want to make this a guild commercial.
Yeah,
That's the last question we're going to answer about the guild.
Just go to thewwoodwhispererguild.com and you'll
everything
find
is at thewwoodwhispererguild.com.
Yeah.
And I don't mean
/FAQ.
I don't mean to brush people off, but I don't like to focus too much on the paid stuff when we're in our sort of free environment.
Yeah. Adam wants to know, what's the fastest way to draw ovals?
Ovals? I don't know. Get a template. Buy a template and draw your ovals. Look up, I may have even covered this, might have been in a guild video, but there are ways to draw ovals where you're sort of measuring out a grid and you could put 2 pins, 2 brads into a board and use a string to draw a perfect oval. In fact, I think that's how I made the top. That's what it is. The tilt top table has an oval top. Yeah. And that's how we did it. So look that up. There are a couple cool little tricks using a pencil, some string, and 2 nails, and you can actually draw a perfect oval.
There's also the perfect circle guys. I don't know if they do ovals with the.
Well, that would be a perfect oval then, not a perfect circle.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyway. Let's see. Someone asked if we play Overwatch. Morse. I played a little bit of Overwatch, but it didn't grab us.
No.
It did not grab us the way it seems to grab other people.
I don't know. My anxiety goes up with those kinds of games.
Mike Spencer, what glasses do I use with my respirator? I showed these earlier. You might have missed it. And I should mention the brand. I use Velcro on the outside of my hearing protection to keep the glasses completely off my face. I don't like that feeling of that digging into my temples. And the company that makes this is fullpro.com, FULLPRO.com. And they give you the Velcro circles. They give you like 2, so you can put them on 2 sets. And then you have your eye protection like this. It seems gimmicky, but dude, let me tell you, this is awesome. To not have those things digging in the side of my head is fantastic. So highly recommend those. What's the move date? David Bishop wants to know. If everything goes through, it's never over till it's over. We will probably be moving mid-November. We're moving out of this house in days.
Yeah, days. Yeah, what are we doing here?
We should be packing
I know,
right
we should
now,
be
quite
totally
frankly.
packing.
I'm glad to bring you guys along for the ride here. Welcome to our craziness.
We're totally procrastinating. Ben wants to know, do you have any rules to use on dado depth?
That's a great question.
That's a great question. You should
know,
take like a good half hour to explain.
I'm going to talk about this for 45 minutes now. Dado depth. First of all, what is a dado? When you're cutting dados, you can go full depth. Like if you're thinking about plywood, for instance, 3/4 of an inch, maybe less. So my instinct says don't go beyond the halfway point, right? If you go more than 3/8, it feels like you're going to do more harm than good by weakening what's left in there. But how far out should you go? Like how much material should you leave? How shallow should it be? And I wish I could remember who it was, but I did see it might have been like a Wood Magazine test or Woodworker's Journal, one of these. It might even have been the Down to Earth Woodworker, and that's he's associated with Highland now. Anyway, I don't know who it was, but someone did this dado depth test, and what they found in their non-scientific test was that the shallower dado seemed to do better, or at least, if I remember correctly, did not do significantly worse to warrant going deeper. So that's why if you looked on the bookcase build that we just did, the Woodworkers Fighting Cancer build, I only did 1/8 inch depth dados on there, because that's what I remember that test showing that even at 1/8 of an inch, they were just as strong. And you go in further, your failure point now becomes, because you've weakened the wall of that plywood so much, it actually gets weaker. So I'm like, all right, well, if that's the case, removing less material, it sounds good to me. So now I'm just putting my dados in at 1/8 of an inch.
Matt Scranton wants to know how you disassembled the, what's it called now?
What?
The helper thingy? Learning helper?
Oh.
I don't want to get sued.
The wooden stool to aid in helping in the kitchen for children. TM. What? How did I disassemble it?
Oh god, that was
with
funny.
an Allen wrench.
He thought it was glued.
No.
It's meant to be broken down, right?
The project formerly known as the Kitchen Helper, which is now, thanks to the help of lawyers, is now called Kids Kitchen Step Stool, is fully able to be disassembled. Now the sides are glued up, but the cross pieces are totally removable, and that's all I had to do is take a couple of 4 bolts out with an Allen wrench and done.
You knocked it.
I knocked it.
Knocked it around.
I knocked it hard.
I said it does include the upholstery in the Morris chair.
Yes.
Okay, because it just says basic drop-in cushion construction. You don't say upholstery.
Well, are you just going to drop in a piece of foam?
I don't know.
What I did was I showed specifically, if I remember correctly, I showed the how-to on that's why it says that. The drop-in thing for the footstool is much easier for us to do as like woodworkers. It was something that I tackled myself. The cushions I did not tackle myself, but my mom's friend who sews came in and I got some of the footage of her doing the sewing. I don't know how to sew, so I'm not going to show you how to make a case for a larger cushion. That's something that you would have to get help with or seek out another source for how to actually do the sewing. But I did show how to take a base, put some padding, put the material over and staple it from underneath, all that jazz. So that's what that's about. The drop-in one was demonstrated. The other one was just kind of given a quick overview.
Temple Boy Turnings wants to know, could you please recommend food-safe oils or finishes, please? Thanks for the awesome shows.
Food safe is always one of
Ireland.
those things, guys.
Oh, yeah.
It's one of those things.
He has an awesome presentation that he does on this.
A lot of people will say that food safe simply means any finish that's completely cured is food safe. You can eat off of it. It's just like a plastic material that if you were to ingest, you just poop it out later. So it's kind of something that you have to make that decision for yourself. Now, if you're building for other people, if you're building for clients, you've got to be safe with this, right? So I wouldn't even take a chance. So anything that's a raw oil is going to be a good candidate for it. Things like tongue oil, actually, as long as it doesn't have anything else in there, not a tongue oil varnish or something like that, just, simple, pure tongue oil, pure linseed oil. A lot of people use walnut oil.
Oh, nut allergies, though.
Right, but I don't know that walnut oil contains the allergen that causes walnut allergies, right? A lot of times it's something else.
But if you're being safe, though.
But if you're being safe, correct. I would not want to even chance giving to a customer something with walnut oil. But again, do your research. From what I heard, I don't think that it's same thing as using walnut in the cutting board, like the actual wood doesn't cause the. But again, nut allergies, nothing to mess with, right? So it's probably best to not touch it at all, especially when there are other options. Mineral oil is okay, but I'll tell you what, guys, don't like mineral oil. Like if you have to use it, fine, but it's not a drying oil. It makes your kitchen, utensils greasy, and it never dries. At least use something like a pure tung oil, or tried and true oil is a good example. That's a polymerized tung oil where it has no chemical dryers or anything in it, acts like pure tung oil or pure linseed oil, and will actually dry on the surface. So I think that's a better option. Tried and true, if I'm doing kitchen items anymore for actual, contact with my pie hole, I'm probably going to use tried and true.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
Let's finish up.
Yeah, let's finish up.
And someone says, is there video lag? There could be, and that would, the one disadvantage of this microphone setup I'm trying out is the fact that it's not going into my camera. We have a separate audio interface, so there could be a sync issue, and there might be a little bit of lag there. So I'll find out when I go watch the video how well it turned out.
So Kyle is watching us in a tree.
Kyle, what are you doing in a tree?
He's 25 feet up in a tree in a deer stand bow hunting right now.
Wouldn't it be great to be Kyle?
Hi, Kyle.
Except for killing the baby deer part.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do that.
I'm sure he's not going to kill a baby deer.
He's going to look up and he's going to go, Kyle? Why, Kyle? Why me? What did I ever do?
It's terrible. You have to keep the population down, especially, I'm from Missouri, so...
We need to keep the human population down is what we need to do.
The deer population, just...
Am I not making
City
any friends?
boy.
Am I not making any friends
City
over here?
boy, country girl.
Yeah. Nicole grew up with, you go out when you're 5 years old, get your first 10-point buck. Was that what you call it? You get 10 points when you shoot a buck.
You'd be lucky to get a 10-point buck. You probably get like...
I used to think it was like...
You would get a stick that probably looked like you think, hey, it has 10 points.
I thought it was like a video game. Like certain bucks are worth more points.
Oh, yeah.
So this one, has nicer colors. So you get 10 points for that one.
No.
That's how
Yeah.
That's how we think of it in New Jersey.
Yeah. All right. Hey, Hector is driving down the New Jersey Parkway listening to us.
Oh,
Hi,
yeah?
Hector.
What exit do you live off of New Jersey Parkway? Or Jersey Turnpike?
Did you say Parkway?
I think you said Parkway. I got confused.
I don't know.
That's what you ask anyone who's from Jersey. What exit off the Turnpike? I do like barbecue quite a bit. No, I'm totally hypocritical when it comes to the whole animal killing thing.
Yes.
I love meat. I enjoy eating it. I enjoy eating just about anything with a face. That said, I don't want to. I am completely the product of civilization, and I want no part in the slaughter aspects of these things. I get it. I understand both sides of the equation, but darn it, I don't want to see things die. I don't care what it is.
All right.
I'm weak. I'm very
Going
weak.
back to
woodworking?
woodworking. Abel wants to know, what website do you recommend for woodworking tools? I'm guessing to purchase?
If you're looking to buy woodworking tools, it's really, you got to start in Amazon, right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are times where you might find a price cheaper elsewhere. So certainly do your due diligence and look around. But every tool purchase that I do starts at Amazon, and then I go from there.
And did you know that we have affiliates with Amazon?
Oh,
so if you decide, if you want to support this show, you don't want to necessarily join the guild or anything like that, you can go to our affiliates page, and if you purchase through there, you can support the website, the free site. That's how.
Actually, you want to know something even cooler than that, Nicole?
What's that?
If you, what is it?
I'll put the link in.
Didn't we have a shortcut for that?
Know. Just thewowscript.com/affiliate.
Hold on, I got it. Shop our affiliates.
Yep, there it goes.
Okay. You can bookmark if you want to help out on an ongoing basis, right? By shopping our affiliate link at Amazon, it doesn't change the prices for you. It's the same thing, and it kicks back literally pennies, but these pennies add up to help support the show. So what we do is we recommend people actually bookmark it. If you've got an Amazon bookmark, change the bookmark to this, and you'll be helping us out if that's what you want to do. And you don't even have to think about it. So the link that we've made for this is thewoodwhisperer.com/TWW-Amazon.
Oh,
If you bookmark that and you always go to that link, it will always go to Amazon and carry over the affiliate link with it. And again, you do your shopping and it won't affect anything. You don't pay anything more, but it kicks a few pennies back our way.
and there are other companies, other sites to buy tools than Amazon. There's also
Sure,
Rockler
Yeah,
and
Rockler,
Woodcraft,
Highland Woodworking,
Woodcraft.
stuff like that.
Yep.
Tool Nut.
Toolnet. Yep. That's another. They're great
right.
customer service.
Yeah, I mean, lots of tool companies. What's the other one? They work with us all the time. Never mind.
I don't remember.
I don't remember either. All right, let's pinch it off, Nicole.
Okay, pinch it off.
Our butts are falling asleep. It's time to pinch it off. If you know what I'm saying.
And baby's still sleeping.
Baby's still sleeping. Someone says, I like the outline. Prescott says, I like the outline where the saws used to be on the wall. Do you see
Oh,
'em?
yeah, I do.
Yeah. It's nice and faded in that area, or I should say the rest of the wood has aged. It's weird, too, though, because it's not like they, especially the body of the saw is not right up against the wall. So maybe light, I'm guessing, is what's doing that? Very interesting.
I got one last question.
Oh, fine.
Someone in the Facebook chat room had a really thought-provoking.
Taylor Toolworks. Tay Tools.
Tay Tools, yeah.
We didn't mention them as a tool company
Yeah.
to buy tools.
Do they sell power tools? I thought they sold, like, chisels.
I don't know. They sell stuff.
Yes, they sell a lot of stuff. So is
No one-
Eagle America, too.
Yes.
Tristan wants to know, was there a single event that got you into woodworking? I
A
know
single
that
event. I would say, what would the event be, Nicole?
Okay, so when we bought our first house in Temecula, California, gosh, was this back in 2002? I think it was.
Yeah, something like that.
There was a downstairs bathroom there was no bedroom. It was just a little side bathroom, but it had a medicine cabinet, and it was weird that it had like a glass medicine cabinet. And I said to him, why do we have a medicine cabinet in a powder room? Can you remove that and put like little shelves in it? And that was kind of what started you down that path.
Yep. And then I got a couple of tools.
Like one little project, kind of.
Right, but then
And
we
the
had
flooring.
the flooring.
Yeah, the
Then we had like
flooring.
baseboards and casework and all types of stuff to get this house looking the way we wanted it to look. And I accumulated the tools, and when those projects were done, I started to think about what else I could do with those tools. So I started watching a lot of Norm and New Yankee Workshop and David Marks on Woodworks, and that got me into the whole concept of building my own furniture. So that's really where it all starts.
I remember your first bookcase, and you made your mom burn that thing.
That's right, I did. Boet Elferling says, and this is the last question because I think it's a good one. Do you like working with pallet wood? And that's a very clear answer for me. The answer is no. I don't like working with pallet wood. I'm fortunate to have access to good quality wood that doesn't have nails, possible impurities, chemicals, and doesn't need to be taken apart. And I realize a lot of people that maybe all you have access to is that sort of reclaimed material. At the point I'm at, in my career right now, I honestly, and I don't mean this to sound negative or cocky in any way, but I've got better things to do than rip apart pallets. So I would rather, if I were in a financial position where it was difficult, I'd rather try to source other types of reclaimed wood other than pallets that might be known to be a little bit safer or require a little bit less of me to prep them and get them to the point that they actually can produce something useful. So I certainly admire the people who are tenacious enough to tear apart pallets and find the stuff that isn't, possibly contaminated, but that's just not for me. So, I know a lot of people like it, but who's Negan gonna kill?
Chad said we violated Amazon's terms.
Yeah, we do that all the time. So does everyone else.
I guess I don't understand because we actually
You can't ask people to directly, to do the bookmark.
Forget that.
I think the bookmark thing.
Oh, well, forget the bookmark thing. There's a bunch of links.
Don't forget it. Do
we
it.
got a bunch of links where we actually.
David wants to know who Negan's going to kill. I don't think it's going to follow the comic book series because TV is all about like keeping around your most popular people. I don't think they're going to kill off. Well, not going. I don't want to spoil the comic either, but they're not going to kill the person who they killed in the comic. That's my guess. So I honestly don't know, but I don't think it's going to be that guy.
Hey, Zachary, you've asked this question a few times about a teenager looking to get into woodworking. I would recommend you go to thewoodwhisperer.com and search for business. Mark has written extensively.
Don't spell it B-I-D
or
B-I-Z, because I like to say business.
Business.
No, yeah, she's right. There are some articles on the business side of woodworking. There's also a very important article that you should read called Why I Don't Give Woodworking Advice. And that will allow you to sort of understand where I come from and why I try not to dish out advice, especially for young people looking to get into this as a career path, because I don't make a career from building furniture for other people. I make a career by doing this.
You tried to.
I tried to.
And it was very hard.
Which is why I don't feel qualified to give people advice.
Yeah. I mean, that's honestly how the Wood Whisperer started, was a way for us to market and teach our customers how furniture was being built and why we were charging as much money as we were charging. Because, the artisan movement hadn't happened back in 2000. Wait, what's today?
Today's Thursday.
The 7th?
Today's
so
Friday.
are we officially 10 years old?
Is it 10 today?
I think it is.
I don't know.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely cool.
Yeah, sorry. So yeah, that's what we were doing the earlier videos for.
Right.
So yeah.
Somebody says, rest in peace, Carl. Should have spelled it coral.
Coral.
Coral. All right, I think we're done, right?
We're done.
Thanks, everybody. It's always great to virtually see you and your words and your avatars. That's always fun. So I think next week we will be out of the house, but I'm renting this shop, doing a rent back for 2 weeks. So I will still be here next Friday. I don't know if Nicole's going to be able to accompany me on the Friday live. You might be able to, but I'm not sure. We'll see.
Yeah,
but I'll be doing a live show regardless from this location. After that point, I don't know what the heck we're doing. It'll be just me sitting on a couch with my phone. Hey, everybody. I'm at my mom's house. What's going on? What up?
Just go in her garage.
Here's Mom.
To give you a tour of the shipping station of the t-shirts.
Yeah, show all the inventory just sitting there.
Go to twwstore.com.
Yup.
All right. Bye, everyone. Wow, we did a long one today.
Yeah. All right. Have a good one. Peace out. Peace out.
Peace. Is it this one? You do it.
I'll do it. I know what I'm doing.